I see you now.
Am I on?
Yes, you're on. I see you.
It's okay.
So, I'm just going to respond to whatever you need today. You got session 2. You got all the materials that I sent to you. So, what questions do you have for me? Any or?
I have a problem on the CPS, like I said.
Well, what specifically in regards to creative problem solving? Because I've just started to introduce you to it. So, what I sent to you was very it was just a snippet because I didn't want to overwhelm you. So, you have go ahead and tell me what your question is if you have a specific question on it.
Yeah, there's some 8 divergent tools that we're given here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look at them.
I gave you.
I really did not. I really did not have a clue about all of them.
That's correct, and you won't. Well, I'm going to go through them with you. So,
okay.
In regards to the divergent one, the only one that you've used so far is brainstorming with the last session.
Okay.
So you're familiar with brainstorming. I'm just not sure if you're familiar with, you can do brainstorming where the facilitator, writes down the ideas on a piece of flip chart, right? Or stick 'em up brainstorming is really the same thing, except people are writing on Post-it notes, and then they're handing them to the facilitator, who is then putting them up on the flip chart. So it's really the same process. The only thing that's different is who's writing the ideas down, who's capturing the ideas. So in regular brainstorming, the facilitator or process buddy is capturing those ideas. In Stick 'em Up brainstorming, the resource group members or the people in the group are actually capturing those ideas on a piece of a Post-it note, these, and then you're taking it and then you stick it up, on the flip chart or the wall, whatever it is that you got to use. And then there was brain writing. And sometimes you have a lot of introverts in your group, people who are shy, right? Or they don't want to really talk in front of a group. And when you sense that, sometimes you'll do a brain writing exercise, which I haven't introduced to you, but I've given you a sheet on it to review so you become familiar with it. Just in when I say brain writing, you'll at least have that sheet. We can go through that exercise. I'll never give you a tool that I expect you to use without us going through it.
It's okay.
So
that's okay.
For the divergent tool, brainstorming, you've used, and I've given you a sheet on. In regards to the convergent tools, I introduced you to the PPCo last week. Remember, and we went through all of that. So that's the one.
Yeah.
That's one tool. So there are a lot of different divergent tools. There's a lot of different convergent tools. I just gave you really the boilerplate, the ones that we use a lot of, but it's certainly not all the ones that we use. So the only ones you need to use right now that you should feel comfortable with are brainstorming, which I think you're pretty comfortable with, and the PPCo, which will be at your next session, which you should be becoming very comfortable with over the process of the last couple of weeks, really.
Yeah.
And you really won't feel completely comfortable with it until you really use it in your setting, in the facilitative setting. But you'll do fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure because the video is sent to me from Dr. Helen's video, or Dr. Susan rather.
Yes.
Gave me a clue what the PPCo is all about. It's so good, it's so easy and good to go with.
Yeah, those are great videos. There's a ton of them. I don't even know what they all have, but I'll be looking through that as we move forward. So.
Yeah, then from that video, if we could do brainstorming and writing and sticking on the papers, that's going to be good. But the challenge I have here is I have a couple of my court members who cannot really write clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's issue too. So we always have to need somebody that can be taking notes for us.
Well, then maybe stick 'em up brainstorming isn't the process to use, because you want to make sure that they all feel comfortable. So maybe you always have someone to capture their ideas and stuff. So you always have to have a process buddy, or, you know, we call them a process buddy in CPS, but you can use whatever term. We talked about that last time. You can use whatever term works in your setting. So you'll capture those ideas or concerns, whatever you're gathering. Any time you're gathering data from the group, you'll capture it. A facilitator or a process buddy or co-facilitator will capture that for your group, and that's not that's not a problem.
Okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Then I also wrote to you concerning the space, like we're talking about, and the space is going to be used on Saturday. They're going to do some work there, and we will certainly not be able to meet out there because I have not spoken it out with the pastor or person concerned. So Jacqueline just called me this morning because that's their church. So we're proposing a Tuesday. We're proposing Tuesday 23rd.
Okay. I think maybe we should talk about, first of all, I have a question. Does the church understand the importance of their role in this process?
Well, the first time I spoke with the pastor, he only told us we're free to use the church. And from time to time, there are always people that when we go there, we need to, when there are people inside, we just stay out somewhere, and there's no problem with that. But this time, they had no idea we're going to use the place on Saturday. We had spoken of Thursdays, but I knew Thursday would not be very good because my husband would call for facilitating, and he will be going out on weekdays. So weekends were best. Mm-hmm. So we spoke of meeting on Saturday. Though I've not given out the information yet, so I gave that out to Jacqueline, who was contacting other people, and she just called me this morning that it will not be possible for us to meet there. They are renovating the whole environment and we're working outside. So that's just for our safety, not to meet there with them. We'll just not do something good. So the place was already given to us. The pastor had permitted that we meet there.
Is he aware of the scheduled meeting dates?
No, he has no idea. We really do not have a calendar yet for a date.
I think we can give him at least month-to-month dates, right? We can tell him in May. Yeah. You know, in May our plans are to meet. It's May 4th, and what's the other date? Now it'll change because you're meeting on Tuesday. So maybe it'll be. If you're meeting on Tuesday, then we have to change that next date, because by the time you report back to me, I look at that and then I recap and build another session together, get the materials together for you, and then you have enough time for those materials. So I'm gonna say that we should probably, our May dates are gonna be May 11th, and then it would be, what is that? Let me just look real quick. May 11th. And then my calendar would come up here. Okay. Then May 25th. They'll change to May 11th and May 25th. Because if you go the 23rd, by the time you get me the report, you know, it's going to take you maybe a couple of days. And then by the time I see that and can respond to that, it's going to be a couple of days. And then you want a whole week, you know, you want 7 to 10 days with the material to feel comfortable with it. So you're not going to get that if you stay with May 4th. So I think we're going to have to change it to May 11th. Unless you plan on doing only, are you planning on doing Tuesdays instead of Saturdays? You want us to maintain the Saturday dates, right?
I will maintain the Saturdays, but I'm not very comfortable with the situation here is not very stable, so we try to see into what the month has ahead of us before we pick a day. We might pick a date that will not be convenient. For example, I'm not very comfortable with May 11th.
Okay. So are you saying then that when you meet on the 23rd, you'll establish a date?
Yeah, we're going to establish a date on the 23rd, and I prefer we make it a little earlier than the 11th of May, or the 25th will be good.
So earlier than May 11th, you want to make it?
Yeah.
I don't care, but it falls on you to be able to handle, on the 23rd, you're going to have to give me that information, and report back to me on the 24th or the 25th at the latest. And then I'll schedule it in to get your stuff back, to do on that Saturday, the 27th. We'll have a conversation on the 30th, and then you'll move forward on, that Saturday, as long as that time frame works for you.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to put it to the court on the 23rd. We actually spoke out. We don't want to carry it down to another Saturday, so we just wanted to clear it off since the materials are ready. We want to work it out on Tuesday. Then we can just go ahead with the other day that was available.
Okay.
Which is May 4th. We don't see a problem with having another one if the materials are ready.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I'll work on that as long as you feel comfortable with this shorter time frame.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it might be a good idea to have a backup plan of a facility or place in case this happens again?
I think so. Because we are always going to adjust for the church and not the church adjusting for us. Mm-hmm. For example, if they have, if they have to stretch out the activities for a week, there's just nothing we'll do. So we'll always adjust for them and not the other way around. But like I said, I met with the pastor and he said, that house is for us. We could use it anytime. But if they have their programs, we might not be able to come in too.
Okay. I am going to grab my book. I don't have it with me. I didn't have a chance to grab it back at my studio on buy-in. I haven't looked at that in quite a while, so I want to look at that. They call that, that you're familiar with John Maxwell, and that's one of the laws. There's like 21 of his, laws that he puts down in regards to leadership, and buy-in, of course, is one of them. So I want to look at that section again and possibly, scan that section for you and also to send it to you, because there are different ways to establish buy-in with people so that they, basically the church. Without the church, it's not that you're sunk without the church, but if you are dependent on the church for your meetings, they're definitely a partner in the process. And maybe they just need to understand their importance, their role, that they play in this process. I don't know. But I'll take a look at that and then I'll get back to you with an email or something. But is there like another place that you could meet? Is there like someone's home, like where you live, where you are? Is your home available to them, or is that not a good idea? You don't want them in your home, that sort of thing. There could be safety reasons why you don't want them in your home, all kinds of reasons. So I'm just wondering if there is a plan B should this happen again. Because what if, my thought is, what if you didn't have any notice and all of a sudden you're planning on meeting and you can't get a hold of everybody, and you've been told like 24 hours in advance and you can't get a hold of everybody, and people are going to show up, you know what I mean? That's my only concern. But if it doesn't concern you, then I won't concern me. But how to have. Well, I'm just saying, and I mean that your area better than me. You know your cohort better than me. And logistically speaking, you're better at this because you're there. I'm not.
Yeah, one of the very reasons we chose that place was because it's kind of a center to record. We don't have to pull them to my end. I live very far off from where they live, so I pay to meet them there. Then the transportation they use is just okay for the environment. That's why I choose that place. But for me, I can use 2 times what they are using to meet them there. So bringing them this way will mean double expenses, struggles, and all of that. Because I live in the outskirts and my area is not as secure as where they are. Okay. Because of Christ. So I prefer keeping them there, not like I cannot bring them into my place. Yeah. I could bring them to my church, the Full Gospel Church here, but it's not just the best. Okay. The environment and the location is not just the best. That's the best place for now. And if I'm thinking of a place, of another location, I'll be thinking of that area.
Okay, well...
Which I'm going to think...
Okay. Well, we'll work with the location we have, and we'll just do the best that we can.
Yeah, I'm just satisfied that the place was given to us, but there are bound to be those challenges. And the good thing is we're told ahead of time, then we adjust. Okay. Pick another for our meetings. It's just as simple as that. And if it gets worse, we can move right down to Sundays after church. That's no big deal. When nobody will be in the place. Okay. Till we find our own place, until Mercy Seat finds an office and a hall that we know that they will come in there. We have no person to drag with.
Okay. Okay. So, are you comfortable with the agenda that I've set up here?
Yeah, I was going through it and there's nothing. I'm not concerned about anything. Let me just look at it. Okay, the agenda is right here. I think the only thing to be adjusted here will be the date.
Right.
To work on the date. I was proposing. I was thinking of bringing it up to Thursday tomorrow. That instead of Saturday. That's another idea that I had.
Oh, doing it this Thursday?
Yeah, that was an idea, and I thought it could be too prompt, and I wanted to discuss that with you.
Are you comfortable doing it on Thursday?
It's not a problem to me. I'll need to reach out to them to turn out on Thursday.
I mean, you're giving them...
I was also
Go ahead.
I was also considering if the taxi fare will be ready by Thursday. That's what I was considering.
Yeah, I haven't heard back from Ronnie, but she's gonna she started her residency on Monday, which means she'll go up to 16 hours a day for the next 2 years. So she's going to be, she has, like, Wednesdays are her best times, Wednesday nights, she said, in order to, if we have to have a chat, possibly on the weekends. I did tell her that I would wait until Monday, which was yesterday, obviously, to see if she had heard and if the monies were released. I didn't hear back from her yesterday, and of course I worked, and then I traveled in late last night. So I'm going to check with her this morning and see. If not, I can always, I will forward the monies to you, and then I will get reimbursed after that. So why don't when do you need the monies in order to have your class on Thursday?
If it comes in, then I'll pull them together tomorrow, which will be short notice. I could put them together today. The money comes in. We are sure of it tomorrow. I'll get to all of them today, and we get it on Thursday. We get a class on Thursday so that we can maintain the day we had.
Okay. Well, I'll transfer $20 over today. And I can't do it until this afternoon, which is evening time for you. So you should have it, I would think, by tomorrow, your tomorrow morning. I'm comfortable, as long as you're comfortable with that you'll have the monies, by tomorrow morning. You can go ahead and tell them Thursday. That's not a problem for me. If you think that they'll be available, I'm gonna, whatever you think. You're the one who has to facilitate this. So if you're comfortable with it, then, and you think you can get the whole cohort together on short notice, then let's do it. I'll transfer the monies this afternoon when I get back from my funeral.
Oh, yeah, I remember you talked of funeral condolence, please. Accept my regret.
Oh, thank you. So either way, I'll transfer the monies. So if it's not Thursday, you'll have them for Tuesday.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm going to make out some calls today. I'm going to get to them today, and if Thursday is okay, we just go ahead.
Okay, that's
rather than pushing things ahead and ahead.
Okay, that works. Okay, so if you notice in the agenda, we kind of have like the same. It's similar, very similar to Agenda 1, right? I did add in your opening prayer. I loved your response to the opening prayer. I thought it's perfect. And I'm going to be taking some notes on that in regards to our servant leadership methodology, and I want I want to build it, greater and have it become more founded. So if you can tell us, even if it's impromptu, you can just give me an idea of what the opening prayer was. If you use scripture, let me know what it is. But I certainly understand that a lot of times, you're just, it's impromptu, and it's just a prayer, and it has nothing to do with scripture. So just give me like a little bit of a background of what it included, that type of thing. And then you notice I have housekeeping, and then I have the welcome, and then I have the shareback, and the review, and it's always set up this way. And what we're doing is we're getting the group familiar with this process and the way our agenda is set up. They'll always know that we always start with an opening prayer. There's always housekeeping. There's always a welcome and a share back. There's always a play shop, meaning our exercise within the group for that session. There's always a home play. There's always a debrief. And we always let them know when the next session will be before we leave, right? So and so that's like the boilerplate agenda. So if you're looking for a what's going to happen in agenda 3, session 3 for that agenda, you have a pretty good idea. There's going to be the opening prayer, housekeeping, welcome, shareback, review. You're going to have, you're always going to do a warm-up as well, and so on and so forth. So this is getting them to become familiar with the unfamiliar, which is a creativity skill as well. So you're going to welcome the cohort. If there's anybody new, you're going to welcome the new members. You're going to let them introduce themselves just like you did before. You're going to just check in. And when I say shareback, it's just checking in, but I like shareback, the word shareback better. You're just going to ask them, so how have y'all been the last few weeks? And if you've had a tough couple of weeks, you can even tell them, you know what? Sometimes I open up with myself. If I've had a bad week and, maybe I'm not as prepared as I should be, that's when I tell them, hey, I've had a bad week. I've had a very busy week, blah, blah, blah. But this will allow you to gauge your group and where they're at, not only emotionally, but physically. Sometimes, my group members have been exhausted or they've been sick and they just aren't, up for anything really engaging. So, this is your opportunity to gauge your group and where they're at emotionally, physically, energy, where their energy level lies. Okay. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And
yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. And maybe this is something that you already know and you already do because, I know you're pretty comfortable facilitating. So, this is the time where if you're going to change your agenda, this is the time you're going to do it. Okay. Then you want to, for session 2, we always want to review our learning outcomes. We want to make sure that we've captured it. They've had a couple of weeks to think about it. Has anything changed, or are these still our learning outcomes? So you're just checking in again to make sure. And again, this is the opportunity to establish buy-in with your cohort that these are our learning outcomes. Okay.
Okay.
Now, then you're going to do a warm-up exercise. This is just a few minutes. You just want to get them. Basically, you want to bring them all together as a group. You want to warm them up, get them energized and focused. Now, I gave you some samples of a warm-up. I gave you a couple of sheets on the importance of a warm-up so that if they ask you, well, why do we do this? You can introduce it. You can even say, we're going to do a warm-up now so that we can, and the reason we do it is. Now, one of the things that we do as facilitators is we're modeling facilitating. We always have to remember that because we're paying it forward because when they're going through this, a lot of them will then take the knowledge back and they're going to actually facilitate to their family members, to their children or whatever. So you want to tell them what you're doing and why sometimes, right? So you might want to give them a little brief introduction of a warm-up and why they're important, And I gave you the information so you can just summarize, You can just highlight the essence of those sheets. Highlighting the essence is another creativity skill. So these are all skills that you're learning, modeling, and teaching out. Okay. Do you have any questions on the warm-up? You know how to, you're comfortable with doing it?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But I was thinking if there's a particular or different exercises, or could we create something from here?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, these are just general guidelines. These are just ideas. Like sometimes, if you're at a loss for what kind of warm up to do, this is just to get yourself to ideate and to start thinking about warm ups. I create my own. Sometimes I do warm-ups that are very targeted toward the conversation that I'm going to be having. So, for example, you might want to, like the next exercise is about mistakes, right? So you could do a warm-up exercise about, okay, we got a few minutes. How many, you can, and you want to challenge, the challenge statement is, in what ways might I or we, whatever it is. So you could wrap it around mistakes if you wanted to. You could create something completely different. It's whatever you want to do. Okay. So, do you have an idea of what you might want to use as a warm up?
I wanted to ask before that, is it the same like icebreakers?
Well, warm-ups and icebreakers are two different things. Warm-ups are just to get, like, I would do a warm-up and then maybe an icebreaker. Okay? You can, you can do either or. It just depends on your group and what's going on in your group. But a warm-up is to get them, it's getting their mind warmed up. Okay? Sometimes you'll do a warm-up exercise because everyone seems to be a little sleepy, maybe after lunch, right? So like what I do is I'll do a warm-up in the beginning, and then if we're going for a couple of hours or we take a break like lunch and then they come back, I'll do, you can do another physical type of warm-up, right? Where you're getting them physically engaged. You can do an icebreaker. I like to do an icebreaker with a team or a cohort, a group who do not know each other, right? And you want them to get them to know each other a little bit more. And you want to basically just break the ice. Or sometimes maybe even your group knows each other, but they're mad at each other. There's a sense of, you know what, I don't really, there's tension, I should say. Maybe there's some kind of tension or anxiety within your group. An icebreaker is great to break that, that type of thing. You could do one, you could do both. It's whatever you think, because you're the facilitator and you're going to gauge the group.
It's okay. I have some ideas. Some ideas are coming up. We'll know what to do and we'll get that to you. We could come up with a little short songs. Or some nursery songs that's like more to them. It's going to be funny getting them back to maybe singing Hey Soldiers in His Centos and all of that. It could be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you can incorporate fun and playfulness, do it. Definitely. Okay. And when you can incorporate them moving and their senses or their singing, you're hitting the SAVI approach, right? And which is incorporating all the senses. Anytime you can do that, it's great.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yep. So then the exercise on the PPCo tool, I'm pretty sure I have a video on mistakes, and if I do, I'm gonna send it to you. If I don't, I'll shoot a new one. You can use it, or you don't have to use it. Okay, I'm just gonna arm you with information. If you want to use it, great. If you don't, it's okay too.
It's very important to have those videos because it's also a teaching tool to me, preparing me and making me better equipped for lessons.
Okay. And then you're going to have the cohort, share their missteps. Hopefully they will. And then as a group, you're going to select one to put through the process of the PPCo tool. If no one shares any mistakes, you're going to have one in the can. You're going to have one to use. Okay? And you're going to introduce this misstep, and then you're going to put it through the process. And you said you feel pretty comfortable with that, so I'm not even going to go through that again unless you have some specific questions on how to handle that.
Yeah, we have some ideas, and maybe we're going to get it from them and put it, but my husband and I have been trying to do a PPCo with the situation in Cameroon, the crisis. We're trying to look at the pluses, potentials, and so on. So that was also an idea. We got through that. So we're going to also try to see if we could use any other members' misstep, if they'll allow. If not, I'm going to present mine.
Okay.
Or we could still present the competencies here.
I need to see that captured, whether it's just in photographs, just capture photographs of it after is fine. Maybe during, seeing you facilitate, I'd like to see, what they've come up with, pluses, potentials, concerns, how they've overcome it. I need to see that information captured, okay? As photographs, I don't think you can videotape the whole session, but photographs of every part of your agenda. So we need someone like who can do that for you. Okay. Okay, so then the next exercise is the visionary exercise, which is glimpses of the future, which is, again, another creativity skill. So you just want to have the cohort envision their future 5 years in time. Have them start thinking about, where are they going to be? What will they be doing? Where do they see their future? And of course, in a positive, affirmative way. This is a pathway to their big dream of what they want to perhaps become or be or do. Where do they see themselves in 5 years? This is a great way for them to share their dreams with the group without feeling as though they're on the spot with what's your big dream type of thing. So this kind of is an intro, a segue, a pathway to getting them to start thinking about their dreams. You can capture, I think you need to capture these in written form because we want to gauge their level of optimism, hope, and happiness. Because we need to see where they are. Do they really truly have hope for the future? And are they optimistic for the future? Do they have vision moving forward? And are they happy now but think that they might be happy in 5 years? Those sort of things. And I know we talk about dreams, and I actually have to send you, actually I did on Agenda 1, I sent you a little quote that I wrote about dreaming again. And it talks about when you start dreaming again, you'll happen upon, you start putting these thoughts to paper, a transcendence starts to take place, and you start thinking about, when you start thinking about dreaming and putting them into paper, you start to actually start formulating your mission in life or your vision or your purpose. And that's really, really where we want to get. We want to get to their purpose in life. And you get to purpose through your dreams. And I just watched a really great sermon on this. And it was perfect because I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. It's exactly what I teach. It's exactly what I think. And I'm gonna send you the video to look at. It's not anything that you're gonna need to teach if you have your session on Thursday, but it's something for you in order to understand the importance of dreaming and where it comes from. And the importance of course, we talked about relinquishing dreams in order to find another dream, which then, segues into our purpose in life. But this video adds the spiritual part of it, which is, it's really not about what we want as dreams, but really what God has dreamt for us, for our lives. And I think I think you'll enjoy it, and because I think you might be able to use some of it in your teachings moving forward. But it kind of anchors the purpose of dreams, which isn't, he talks about if you find a dream, and then, it happened to me. I had the dream of becoming a published writer all my life up until I was 45, from the age of 6 or 8. Or maybe it was 7 years of age to 45. And I was just like, stuck on this dream, and it's like, you just have to relinquish it and give it a new perspective. And, maybe it's not about what I want in life. Maybe it's about what God needs me to do in life, which is, of course, lends itself to our purpose, which is really His purpose in our lives. So I'm going to send you that video just so that I think you'll enjoy, listening to it. You might be able to incorporate some of it in moving forward into your group. or not. But so are you comfortable? You can facilitate this any way you want. Sometimes I have, I have the advantage of having a lot of materials at my fingertips, crayons and paper and scissors and colored paper and coloring books and all of these things, to get their minds and their minds thinking about their dreams and all of these things. But you probably don't have those things readily available. So however you think you want to get them to start talking about this is the way, however you want to handle this logistically, it's in your hands. I can help you. I can offer you some suggestions. But if you think you're good with it, then, I think you're good with it. What do you think? You're good?
It's okay. We're thinking of buying some jotters.
Some what?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay. What are you thinking of buying?
Some jotters.
What is that?
We're thinking of buying some jotters like this. Some jotters like
this. Okay.
For every member of the card.
Mm-hmm. Journals.
So they will come with every. Yeah.
How much do those cost?
So that they bring every session.
Mm-hmm. How much is the cost for those?
Expensive. Less than $1.
Yeah, I really wish I got to get our shipping figured out, because I could send all that stuff to you so cheaply, but it's the shipping costs that are killing us. I still got to work out those logistics, but I think that's a great idea. We want to capture that though, because I want you to report back to me on what some of these people, what the people said, okay, what the group members said. And I did suggest that maybe your husband facilitates this so that you can observe the members, their body language, or vice versa. But someone should observe them for their body language and to check on and to give me a sense of their optimism, hope, and happiness when you're going through this exercise.
It's okay. We could still do a video for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then, and again, I have all of these things listed in your agenda. You might not get through them all, and that's okay. All right. Because if you don't get through them all, we're just going to add them to the next agenda for the next session and move through, okay? So the next thing is we want them to start thinking about their belief system. And we begin this in session 2. We continue it as a home play, and then we work on it again in session 3. And depending on how it goes, we might just, it might be finished, and then, in a few months from now, we take it back out and we reevaluate it, and we look at it again and see if anything's changed. But I won't know until session 3 whether you feel the exercise has been complete or whether we need to work on it more. Okay? So what this is you start asking them, what constitutes you? Who are you? What makes up you? How, what is your foundation? And your foundation can be made up of characteristics, attributes, what are their beliefs or their values. And when you do this, you're going to probably start hearing things that you're going to identify as external beliefs put on them. Things like, girls are told to be good girls. Boys are told to be strong boys. When we're brought up, we're told you have to respect your elders. You have to be obedient, right, to your men. You have to. And we're brought up with all these external beliefs placed on us. And as we get older, we just believe these things because we were told to believe them. But you know what? Maybe we don't believe these. This is a perfect exercise an opportunity to challenge the process, to challenge the status quo. Things like with your group, they might say, you know what? Well, we have to be obedient. We have to go out into the city and make money and send it back to our family, because we have to be obedient. But see, that's an external belief. Do they really think? What do they really think about that whole value, or, being obedient? Maybe, because obedience, is important, right? It's important to be obedient to God. It's important to be obedient, I suppose, to your spouse on a certain level. But when it can cross over into, being harmful, it's no longer being obedient in the affirmative way, So this is a very interesting conversation or discussion that you're going to have. And they might be able to sit in this for quite some time. You're going to gauge the group. They might even say, they might, to be honest with you, they might not even know how to do this. They might not have any answers for you. They might be like, I have no idea who I am. I get that every time. I've only had one person, and he was a young 11-year-old young boy who said, I know exactly who I am. And it was all founded and based in his faith. It was amazing. Nobody else in all the years that I've been working has been able to identify who they are, which is kind of fascinating, surprising, but also sad when you're talking to a 62-year-old woman or a 50-year-old man or even a 14-year-old girl who really has no idea, right?
Yeah.
So, but who knows what you're going to get? You might get someone, I know exactly who I am. I'm this, and this. And so I don't want to put this conversation in a box. I want you to just come back and tell me what they said, some of the things that they said, so I can gauge it a little more, and then maybe steer it, or not really steer it, that's a bad word, but maybe moderate it or guide it a little bit better. Okay? This is one of those things where I don't have anything really I have no preconceived notions or anything, and I literally could put up flip charts and say, okay, tell me some of the attributes or characteristics of you. Or sometimes I handle this differently all the time. Sometimes I draw literally like a stick person on a piece of paper.
Okay.
And I say, and some people say, well, I'm this or I'm that, or these are the values that I believe in, however you want to handle it. See, I said we need to decide how to capture this, how you want to go about facilitating this. You can, because you need to capture it. And this is where the individual person comes in. This is where we know how to target some of the exercises on an individual basis. Okay? So it's real important for you to understand who these people think they are and who they might want to be. Again, I've had people say, well, I want to become hopeful. I'm not hopeful now, but gosh, I'd like to become hopeful. These are the things, those are really important snippets. We know that we have to help that person establish and become more hopeful in life. We might have, and you probably are going to see this, which is people saying, I don't trust anybody. So these aren't always good characteristics or attributes or values. They could be bad behaviors that they have, or negative behaviors that they've, have. Like someone may say, well, I am a very untrusting person, right? I would like to trust someone, but I can't because they've always let me down. So I don't trust anybody. This is, being unwilling to trust is part of your foundation at this part of your life. Foundations are built they're crumbled, they're blasted apart, they're put back together with glue. So so their foundation, what does their current foundation look like? Who are they today? Does that make sense? Do you feel comfortable with this conversation?
Yeah, it's super good because a lot of them really do not know who they are. Mm-hmm. So if they come up to know who they are and who they are supposed to be, it's going to be very beautiful. For example, when I look back at obedience, we see that a lot of wrong things happen to them just because they are obeying someone. Mm-hmm. They want to be obedient to someone, which is not really very good. We need them to know about negative and positive of obedience. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to work a lot on that. Mm-hmm. Being respectful, do you just respect people over everything? That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, you respect someone because you're told, but do you really, then you start to debrief those values. What does it mean to be obedient? What does it mean to respect someone? There is good respect, there's bad respect. There's void respect. You're respecting a person because you're told you're respecting that person. I don't want to be respected because if someone told them they should respect me. I want to be respected because of who I am and the values that I exemplify. So this is a very, very rich conversation, and so that's why I say this might be a conversation that by the time you might have to corral it in and say, you know what, I want you to just give them a little home play, which is part of this agenda. Continue to think about these things and bring them back with you next session, and let's continue to talk about them. Okay. Then I have a exercise on self-defense, and it's just going to be videos on me, and the cohort can pair up. This is a great great way to have them become physical, meaning maybe they need to get up after having the belief system exercise is kind of heavy, and now they're going to get up and do stuff, and I'm hoping to give them a sense of immediate empowerment. Right? When I show them the redirection of force, and I show them how to establish personal territory, the importance of their line of vision, I'm going to teach them how to walk backwards properly so that they don't fall, the importance of their arm and hand positioning, that sort of thing. I'm hoping that they should have immediate takeaways that are going to make them feel more confident in their physical in a physical way, so perhaps they can defend themselves a little bit better. So I'm gonna shoot those videos. If you do this Thursday, let me know tomorrow. And you know what? I'm gonna shoot these tomorrow because I'm meeting with my instructors on Wednesday, which is tomorrow night. So I will get these done, but you might not have them until Thursday morning. I'll send them to you Wednesday night at probably about 8 or 9 o'clock at night tomorrow night, so you'll have them. But if you go on Thursday, you'll have them kind of late. But that'll be the best I can do. Okay.
Well, let's just see how it goes. I've always wanted to go through the videos and get prepared ahead of time. But Thursday morning will not be bad since we're beginning at 11 o'clock, so I can still go through them.
And you know what? Excuse me. And you know what? If you table it to the next time, then you table it to the next time. The next session, So they're not going to be long videos. They're going to be, I'm going to probably I'm going to do 2 separate videos, and I'm going to try to do them within 3 minutes each one. Okay? So that's it. So they're going to be short little videos. This is just an introduction to personal self-defense. That's it. All right. So their home play. This is a very full agenda. their home play is, we already talked about your belief system. They're going to just continue with that thought, okay? I'd like to introduce positive affirmations, which is the importance of positive word choice. And we've talked about this, so you should be very familiar with this. And you can give them several examples, right? And this is like literally a 2 or 3 minute conversation. It's not this isn't an exercise. This is your home play. Positive affirmations. I want you to start thinking about yourself in a positive way. You know, a lot of times we're in adversity, and sometimes you got to pull the positive from the negative. Sometimes it's a struggle, and I'll tell you, my mother taught me this as a very young girl, that there's always a positive and a negative. Sometimes you really got to search. Sometimes you really, really got to struggle through it. But there's always a positive, my mother told me when I was a young girl. And people call me the eternal optimist. They're like, you're so optimistic, blah, blah, blah. And I say, I am optimistic, but I'm a realist. Meaning I'm not high, like pie in the sky optimistic. I'm a grounded optimist, So we want to get that starting to, this is a change of their mind, a perspective. We're changing their perspective from always going to a negative to a positive. So and I give you some simple suggestions here. I always love an I am, because it's just so strong, and it's based, of course, on our faith. But you can use whatever example or you want in order for them to understand. I am a good person. I am a great mother. I am doing the best I can. You had a crappy day. You know what? I got through the day. I got through a crappy day. That's a positive.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And let's say, like when we were talking and you were on, you couldn't go out for a week because you were on, what was it called again? You were on...
it was shut down.
Yeah, the town was shut down. You couldn't go out. And I said, well, hey, have a little fun with that. You and your husband are have 7 or 10 days together. And of course it stinks because you're hearing gunshots and everything else. You have to get down, but you can make a positive. There are positives. You can work, you can take time on your relationship. You can have fun together. You can spend time together. So, sometimes you gotta really just, take that, out of you gotta find that positive out of the negative. And that's really all we're trying to introduce here. And you're going to ask them to come back next time with some of their positive affirmations, and you're going to ask, you want them to be able to share this because you want them to be able to say this out loud. So the other thing with positive affirmations is not only do they think it, but they write it down and then they say it out loud. Okay? So they think it, they write it, they say it out loud. Okay? And this is changing their mind and their perspective from negative to positive, and they're going to start looking at situations in a different light, in a more positive, affirmative way. So then this next home play, if you think you're running out of time and there's not enough time to really go into to explain this home play, then don't do it. And we'll introduce it as an actual exercise next time around. But if you think your group is okay and you still have a little time, right? You want them to know that you're going to be working on a community challenge. This is a group challenge, not individual. It's going to be a group challenge. Normally I do individual challenges, but because you haven't learned the whole process with creative problem solving, I'm not comfortable. I don't want to set you up for failure, okay? It would be too much for you. So in order for you to learn the process, as well as the group to learn the process, we're going to have one challenge, and we're going to we're going to resolve that challenge and put it through the creative problem solving process. So this challenge has to be something that they have to be a decision maker in. Or if there's a community challenge and no one is the decision maker, you're going to have to bring that decision maker in from the outside. That's why I suggested maybe there's a mercy seed challenge, because you're the decision maker there. So you're already there, right? You have to be motivated and committed, and you can see I put those things on the CPS chart that I gave to you. Okay, so you just want to identify a challenge that the group can all get behind, and that they have the energy to get behind. I suggested a mercy seed sustainable block, like the hair salon. I mean, we're actually working on this right now. How to, or maybe it's the next sustainable block. I don't know, but feel them out and see. And all you want to do is have them start thinking about it. That's it. You don't need to capture anything. You just want them to think about a community challenge. And then next session, they're going to come in with some of these ideas of all of these challenges. And then I'm going to walk you through those, how to gather that data and how to then flesh through it. Okay.
That's okay.
And then you're going to do your normal debrief. Okay. And then you're going to tell them the next session will be the May 4th. And then you're good to go. So it seems like a lot, but it really depends. It could be and it could not be.
Yeah, there's a third HomePLAY means we're going to repeat the belief system. We're going to bring that in. It continues.
Yes, they're going to come back with that, right? They're going to come back with, you're definitely going to have a conversation during the session about this, but you're going to also assign it as HomePLAY, as in you want to continue that. There's no way someone can say, oh, well, there could be, someone who's emotionally well will be able to say, like, for example, if someone said, what's your belief system? I could say, I have one word. One word reflects everything about me. And that one word, it's true. And that one word, when I first did this, I had all these characteristics and attributes and values and behaviors. And you know what? What I realized was all of those are underneath the one up here, which is love.
Okay.
Because love exemplifies my spirituality. Because love is God, God is love. If you love and you truly, genuinely, authentically believe in love, you will be compassionate. You will be trustworthy. You will have integrity. You will exhibit honesty. And all of these attributes, I feel, and that's my belief system. Everyone's belief system is different, right? So some people may say, well, I'm this and this, and I want to have all those words or values or attributes surround me, and this is who I am. But me, my belief system just falls to one: love. So but in order to get to that, I really had to go through that thought process of
it's in one chart. I saw the chart.
Mm-hmm.
That brings it's in need.
Yeah. So everyone is different. Everyone will be unique. You will see commonalities, but you will also see different ones. And where there's and what's really interesting is when you I always put up these charts, like a sheet of paper, and you might not be able to, but I always have the person explain who they are, because it's important for them to stand up and say, this is who I am. It gains confidence, and it just anchors them in who they are, and it's teaching them how to have a voice, and they're in a safe environment, so they should feel comfortable doing this. And there was something else I was going to say about that, but I forgot. Shoot. Oh well, it's gone. It lost.
When you remember it, you could send it to me.
Yeah. But they definitely should stand up and talk about themselves. That's what I was going to say. So when you do that, right, and you see that, the group and you as a facilitator are going to be thinking, okay, what's a commonality? Do they all say faith? Do they all say love? You know, these things. So then you're going to, what you're hoping to see is that the group is going to be like, oh my gosh, I have something in common with everyone here. Or the commonality of faith binds us together. You know, we have this bond. So you're going to extrapolate from there. You're going to start to see what some of the commonalities are within this cohort, as well as the differences. And we're going to embrace those differences and diversity, right? And so now they're learning about the diverseness of themselves, of each other. And we're teaching them how to embrace, really it's embracing the beauty of each person. Of course, everyone has commonalities. But we also have differences, and our differences should be embraced. We shouldn't feel as though they're a bad thing. So you're going to see this amongst the group. And it really is quite a beautiful process.
Yeah, it is. I'm imagining how it's going to look like. It's so full of life.
Mm-hmm.
So the lessons are so full of life. They're transformative.
And Scripture teaches us that, you can't do, if you don't know who you are, God can't do anything with you if you don't know who you are. You really have to understand who you are in order for God's plan for your life to be able to become a success. Because if you don't know who you are, you're going to make bad choices. When you know who you are, you're going to start to, you're going to start to understand what you need. Not, and I always say it's not about what you want, it's about what you need in relation to who you are. But if you don't know who you are, you don't know what you need. So you can't say, well, I want this or I need that, because when you don't know who you are, because how do you know you need that or want that when you don't know who you are? So who you are is that foundation, that anchor, right? And there's no way God can work in your life for the good if you're going to butt him every way. When you know who you are and what you need, you're going to allow him to come into your life, and you're going to allow him to show you his purpose for you in life.
That's perfectly true. It's 100% true. If you don't know who you are, you don't even know what to ask from God.
Right.
Yeah, you don't know your needs. You're just so confused about yourself, and sometimes you're just abandoned in that confused state until you begin to figure out yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the agenda. I feel real comfortable with it for you. I think you're going to do great.
Yeah.
And then if you do this Thursday, I would like to... Friday. If you do this Thursday, then I'd like to debrief you. I guess I can't really debrief you until next Tuesday. Oh, shoot.
That'll be fine.
Okay, I got things planned on Friday.
Maybe too far. Thursday?
Thursday's fine. I can't debrief you until the following Tuesday.
If the Tuesday debriefing is going to be too far from Thursday.
It won't be. It won't be for me. It's just that, I'm like, get excited. I want to hear all about it. So,
It's okay. I don't have a problem with a Monday, a Sunday, but for the fact that you might be very busy.
Well, it's Easter weekend here.
Oh yeah.
So
right here too.
So Saturday I'll be busy with shopping and baking stuff. Sunday I'll be busy with family. Monday I have a standing client contract, so I'm busy all day Monday. So I don't want to start a conversation that I'd have to end maybe like after a half an hour. So I always have a standing Monday obligation with a client every Monday, all day. So it would have to be Tuesday. And yeah. So is there anything else, like on any of the materials that I sent to you, that you have a question on? Before we have about 15 more minutes if we need to talk, or I can let you go if we're good to go. It's up to you.
I don't think the materials are very clear or self-explanatory. Mm-hmm. But if I come up with some difficulties, I'm going to get back to you. They're just so good.
Okay. All right. And of course, there'll be, I'll be sending you more stuff to add to that, to each one of those, but I definitely don't want to overwhelm you. I'm in the process of getting myself all organized in regards to those, which is going to be a massive undertaking because I have, books and I can't even tell you the stuff I have, but I'm going to get myself organized so that we can move forward more efficiently and effectively as we move through this. So, yeah.
Okay, whatever.
So how
I'm also getting... Yes.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Mm-hmm. I'm okay. Just a little concern about Barbara. Barbara will soon be... This is April, and I'm thinking when she will be graduating.
How is class? Okay for her?
Yeah, she's okay. So I was thinking if we could, if I could send you what will be needed for salon so that we can see what we can do.
I didn't catch that. What did you say?
I mean, the budget for the hair salon.
Oh yes, yeah. Yep. If you have that, once you get that, I can review it and we can throw it on our agenda for our next conversation.
That's okay. So that when she's, this is already, April is burning out, and when it's May, June, she'll be getting out so that she will not have to get out and hang out again. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just hope so.
She's doing good? She's enjoying her training?
She's looking so beautiful. Mm-hmm. She's being relieved from within. Mm-hmm. Jacqueline too.
And how is she? How is she doing with her studies, Jacqueline? Enjoying?
She's doing fine. There's a textbook she asked me that she needed to buy, which we're going to send her. We're going to look for money and send to her. She's positive. She's really very positive.
And how's her health so far?
I've not spoken to her about her health.
All right, I'm going to check in with Ronnie in regards to that and see, because she sent all the information to a couple of people and she was just waiting to hear back. So basically we're waiting to hear back in regards to her medical bills, and we're waiting to hear back in regards to the transportation costs. There are two different people, two different departments. So I'll check in with, I'll send Ronnie a text today and I'll ask her, what that is, what the status is of those things. But I'm definitely going to send you out your money for transportation later this afternoon, so you'll have that. I will need the EQIs that you administered to the two new people.
Okay.
But you don't need to send those, I just need them at some point. You don't need to send them this week or anything like that. So I don't want you to feel pressured on that. I just want it, just a reminder that I'll need those at some point. Definitely don't need them this week or anything, because I'm not pulling EQIs for quite a while. I just want to have them, handy. I still have to get you information on the one that I am missing a portion of still. So I just have to go through those, and I haven't had a chance to do that. So that's on my agenda within the next week or two, is to coordinate and organize the EQIs that we have and the ones that we still need. So,
okay.
Yeah. So, and have you heard from Faith or Charlene?
I haven't heard from Charlene, but we promised that next time we'll be meeting, we'll make sure Faith joins us. So I'm going to get to them today.
Good. Oh, awesome. All right. So, all right. So then we'll know more if Faith comes on Thursday or even next Tuesday, depending on when you have it. And we'll have a little bit more input on Faith and what's going on with her. Correct?
That's okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, then I'm going to let you go. You've got a lot of work to do if you're going to have that session on Thursday.
Yeah, that's true. Let me try to contact all of them and see if Tesla's best, but I think it's best.
Okay.
Rather than push it, I really don't want to push things ahead.
Okay. But whatever you think. All right.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. All right. I will talk to you later.
Yeah, thank you. You're looking so beautiful today.
I have makeup on today because I have to go to a funeral, and I'm dressed. Usually I've come from working out and training for 2 hours, and you see me completely disheveled. But whatever. Today I actually have makeup on. I'm dressed. Oh, but thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, and I tell you, I'm learning more than I ever thought. I told my husband it's like I'm in university, getting university from all of that. And he's also so interested in materials. He reads them too. Good,
he should, because he'll be supporting you. And sometimes it's important to have someone else's opinion, like their viewpoint on it. They can bring something new to it, which is really, really fascinating, and it's really important. So I'm so glad that, and you know what? You've established buy-in within your relationship. So he's supporting you, you're supporting him, and so it's a good thing.
And it's so, we're beginning to even use some of your terms in the house. I heard him say, that's not an affirmative environment.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, is that an affirmative environment you want to give me? You're not giving me one. So you're really changing us.
So you should start your positive affirmations as well.
Yeah, we're starting them. We're doing that. Okay. The materials are helping us. Okay. We're washing off some old stuff. We're getting renewed.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm so happy. All right. Well, then off you go to contact everybody, and and you let me know when you hear, and I will talk to you. I'll text you later after I transfer the monies, so that you're aware.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you so very much.
Oh, you're welcome, and I will talk to you soon. Be safe.
Thank you. Bye bye.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Yeah.